This is me unable to figure out my life. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bauer Battle Breakdown, where self-reflection is how we grow. This game starts off in a very interesting fashion because I find myself immediately on the back foot. My Incineroar will be able to neutralize the Sableye with Taunt. However, I don't have anything to protect my Palkia in the now. I toss around the idea of maybe trying to set Trick Room, perhaps Dynamaxing my own Palkia. I decide on neither of those things, and I also decide that I can't really swap into anything safely. So I will opt for Earth Power into Dialga, and I will taunt the Sableye. My opponent, of course, recognizing that they are in this advantageous position, will immediately Dynamax their Dialga, and then it is revealed to me why I made the right call. Sableye tricks an eject button onto Palkia. Had I Dynamaxed it, I would have effectively wasted that turn. So Dialga is going to get the Steel Spike in. Not the most damaging move into Palkia, but it will gain that defense boost and kick my Palkia out immediately. I decide to put in Calyrex Ice to perhaps set Trick Room, start turning things into my favor, and then taunt the Sableye. A mistake that people trend towards, myself included, is the idea that we have to Dynamax our Pokemon when we are on the back foot in order to make up lost ground. Obviously, you just witnessed a situation where it was definitely more beneficial not to do that, but it is still an urge that I feel like needs to be suppressed more often than not, and is especially a consideration if your opponent is packing some sort of priority disruption to your main threats. Coming into the second turn, the momentum is not in my favor. I need to figure out how to stop this Dialga and also possibly set up Trick Room to pave the way for my own Calyrex to start doing some return damage, perhaps Dynamax itself. Unfortunately, what you're going to witness me do here is skip over the option that I perhaps should have done, which is protect the Calyrex. Instead, I tried to set Trick Room, which seems like a decent idea, except for I have no way to protect this Calyrex, and you're about to see that in action. My opponent swapped out their Sableye, who was taunted, for the Urshifu, so that Urshifu gets in, but I lose my Calyrex for absolutely nothing. I do Parting Shot, I debuff the Dialga a little bit, and it gives me an opportunity to reposition. This step of the game is a lot more cut and dry because now I have a main threat on the field, and I have a way to protect it with Amoongus's Rage Powder. I'm going to Rage Powder, I'm going to Dynamax. I feel like you could conceivably make an argument to attacking Dialga. However, this is Dialga's last turn of Dynamax, so I decide to instead focus my attention on Urshifu. However, the Urshifu protects, so my Max Quake is not going to do near as much, but my Rage Powder is going to draw Dialga's attack away from the Palkia. I'm going to Max Quake, which, like I just said, is not going to do a ton of damage, but the special defense boost is going to be somewhat significant in this turn and the coming turns. Dialga is going to max Hailstorm, and even though that's super effective into my Amoonguss, it's going to hang on with more than half of its health, actually. Everyone gets clipped by Hail, Dialga is going to get small again, and then I will continue the onslaught. I figure that Amoonguss isn't going to do as much right now, so I swap it for Incineroar. The goal here is to have fake out pressure on the following turn, but also to mitigate whatever Urshifu is going to do as long as it's not Wicked Blow, which is going to critical hit regardless. Now, Urshifu will indeed do Wicked Blow. It's going to land that crit. Thankfully, it's into Incineroar, which is going to do a lot less damage because of the resistance. Max Quake goes into Dialga, and it almost takes it out, but not quite. Things are looking up, but then it gets worse. I have a frozen Palkia, which is awful, but my game plan remains the same. I'm going to fake out Dialga, have it get KO'd to Hail Chip, and if I'm able to attack the Urshifu, then that is just gravy. I will fake out the Dialga here, it'll lose its turn. Now, Urshifu does Wicked Blow again, which I feel like was a strange choice. It might be a choice banned Urshifu, not sure. And as luck would have it, Palkia actually thaws out immediately. I'm able to get this Quake, I'm able to KO the Urshifu, and perhaps the most important piece of this is I get another special defense boost. We all get buffeted by Hail, and my opponent is going to put in their fourth Pokemon, which is Arctozolt. I would have bet money that it would have instead been Zacian, however, Arctozolt hits, and I realized that one of its abilities is actually Slush Rush. I have no option to protect. I've already done Fake Out, so I really just have to cross my fingers and pray. I double up into the Arctozolt with the hope that I will take it out. Of course, I don't really need to attack the Dialga because it's going to go down to Hail. Arctozolt will go first and Freeze Dry, so I lose the Palkia, unfortunately, not able to do anything. And Dialga is going to Earth Power. However, Incineroar has plenty of special defense boosts, so I actually survived this with enough left over to Flare Blitz the Arctozolt. It is going to take it straight out, but then my Incineroar faints from the recoil, and then only Dialga is left, who dies to Hail. What a turn this was. We now come to the thrilling conclusion where out of the 12 Pokemon between me and my opponent, we take the two least damaging ones and pit them against one another. Sableye opens up with Will-O-Wisp, which is easily going to put in the most work in this end phase. I'll put the Sableye to sleep with Spore, and then it becomes a contest to see if my Seed Bomb can out-damage the burn over time that my Amoonguss is going to suffer. Noting that I'm already starting at a slightly lower health amount than full because Amoonguss took some damage earlier in this set. Now I'm speeding up this section because I'm just pressing A 11 billion times and we are trading damage, we're trading damage. Sableye wakes up and its first order of business is to Trick. Now the items swapped between us don't really matter. What is more significant is that you saw a second ago, Sableye's only damaging attack is Faint, which does a very embarrassingly low amount of damage even for a support Pokemon. So my Amoonguss is going to be able to win the damage race here. And you'll see me close it out for the win. The little mushroom did it. My goal is to give practical analysis that any trainer can use. So let's hit the high points for this game. You don't have to Dynamax right away to recover a lost position. Don't Trick Room if you can't protect your setter, and always plan out your Dynamax secondary effects, whether those be stat boosts, stat debuffs for your opponent, or modifying the weather. Thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode of the Bauer Battle Breakdown. If you're new here and want to see some of my other content, I'll put a couple of recommendations up here if you would like to peruse those. That's my time. I'll see you next week.